February the 12th, 2026. As you're looking at some information, it's called the 2025 Voter Verification Submission Form from the Social Security Administration and the HAVV system. Now, what they're talking about is mismatches in what is actually, on who's really voting. Let me back that up. When they turn in information on the voter rolls, if the Social Security does not match, then it's not a real voter. Now, the question at the top of this in this article is, when a blue state receives a no-match report from the federal government, do they reject or approve that voter application? Good question, right? This is some very interesting statistics here. I've got two videos that I'm working on, or one more, this one and one other one about the Epstein situation. Now, it's a little bit dark, and I'm not sure if I really want to do it or not. Let me know. But we're getting some congresswomen diving deeper into some of the files that released, the 300 or the 3 million files. And they're coming out with some pretty bad reports. But if you want to hear about that, I'm not sure. Everybody may be burnt out on Epstein. I don't think I've really done much about it at all, except yesterday. And when we were seeing Pam Bundy was deflecting a lot, and why? Something's not right there. And we'll look into that a little deeper. But again, I'm trying to be careful with these videos. We're getting hit really hard. If you look at the numbers on the last 4 or 5 videos, they've taken everything down by about 90%. And that, it's kind of crazy because there's other channels talking about some of the same things, but they target certain individuals. They always have. Anyway, this is the 2025 voter verification submissions from the Social Security Administration. If the numbers are in red, see right there, it is greater than a 25% rejection. In other words, the Social Security did not match up, not a legal vote. Now, Alabama, you're at 40.7%. This is last year, of course. And so that's non-matches is 21,031, 40%. Now, Alaska, you're below the red, but you're at 19, and it's not that many in the populace. But guys, you look at the governors of the states, and if they're foreigners, you can just about bet their numbers are exceedingly high. And you know why, right? Anyway, Alabama, you're red, 40, Arizona, 28. You got a lot of numbers here, 19, but again, it doesn't go red until you're above 25%. 15% Arkansas. Now, 67% in Georgia. And they just found out, guys, that Trump really won Georgia. There were so many invalid ballots that once they took those out, Trump won it by a landslide. It's amazing, huh? Delaware would not submit. D.C. would not submit. Florida, 31%. Clean it up. Georgia, 67. Again, just think about that. 31 in Idaho. Now, here you have a does not participate. Kentucky, that's just like saying you're guilty as hell. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the politics. But the people, you've got to control you got to make sure at the polls and at the voting centers that there's someone keeping an eye on things. But here in Maryland, this kind of tops it off. Now, who's the governor in Maryland? Guys, they are at 97%. In other words, you have total transactions on these submissions, 68,410, 66,000 did not match. 97%. That's unbelievable. Non-matches in these elections and on these votes. So Maryland, Maine, Michigan, all of these 4 states right here, Maryland, Maine, Massachusetts, and Michigan, you're above the 25%, 44 for Massachusetts. But the 97 on Maryland, guys, these people, these votes, now you've got both federal elections. Now, again, these are submissions. They're not the total votes. But again, New Mexico did not participate. North Dakota does not participate. Oklahoma does not participate. South Carolina doesn't. Tennessee doesn't. Virginia doesn't. And again, West Virginia, no 2025 submissions. I guess that's like did not participate, but just no submissions at all. I guess they didn't claim they were not going to participate like we see in all the blue states. But guys, these numbers are telling in a lot of ways, and that's got to be changed not only before midterm, but especially by the 2028 elections. Now, I'm not sure where the pressure came from overnight, but when I went to bed last night, guys, Majority Leader in the Senate, John Thune, was against the SAVE Act, which they were voting on last night, and I think they're going to vote on it some today. But it's about voter ID. You have to have certain IDs, legal IDs, to vote. And why was Thune against that? Why were all the Democrats against that at all? Why would anyone be against that was not cheating? But now, this morning, it's changed for some reason. What took him so long? It says Senate Majority Leader Thune finally signs on as a co-sponsor of the SAVE Act after mounting pressure. I bet you Trump kept his butt up half the night. Now, they're going to try to do what's called a standing filibuster. Normally, you got to have 60 votes, but if a standing filibuster allows 50 votes, but that means you got to stand and make speeches and do all of this, and then you can get this passed, with a 50-vote majority. Last night, they had 40 votes. Now, what were the other 20 Republicans thinking? You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, some kind of pressure has hit, and this is the saving grace of this nation. I talk about it. Very few people listen. Very few people watch the videos anymore. They'd rather watch the crap going on in Tucson, Arizona right now, which is a distraction, guys. People are watching by the millions while this other stuff goes on. You don't think that was part of the distraction? And there may be family members in that family involved with Epstein? Come on now. Now, going from the Senate to the House, it says the U.S. House of Representatives voted Wednesday evening to once again pass the Save American Act, legislation that would require documentary proof of U.S. citizenship and voter ID in order to cast a ballot in federal elections, not state, federal. The final vote tally came out 218 to 213, with only one Democrat, Henry Cellular, Democrat from Texas, breaking ranks to vote in favor. Now, he's the one also that was tied up in some corruption. I don't know if he was guilty or not, but Trump pardoned him. Anyway, every other Democrat voted against the measure. I guess that's how they vote. This one guy broke, though, but that would have made it 217, 214 without him, but at least he did that. It says every other Democrat voted against the measure, siding with the party leadership in opposition to stricter election integrity requirements. Who does that? Who even tolerates that crap? Come on, Trump. But while House Republicans unified behind the bill, attention quickly shifted to the Senate and to Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Republican from South Dakota. In recent remarks, Thune appeared to dismiss any serious effort to move the legislation forward under current Senate rules, stating, and he was really projecting, he said there aren't anywhere close to the votes to change this SAVE Act rule. Only a traitor would say that without full knowledge of where everyone stands. His comments were widely interpreted as a reference to the Senate's 60-vote filibuster threshold. That's exactly what he's talking about. That's exactly why he's been against it, and especially since he got busted in the voter cheating scam. Remember the one about the Smurfs where they would steal the ID, the identity of a lot of elderly people without them knowing, and then contribute the limit each day, $20, $25 a day for a year? Well, Thune is caught up in that with Mike Johnson, not just the Democrats. So maybe that has a lot to do with what Thune is talking about. It says Senator Mike Lee, Republican from Utah, revealed that only 44 Republican senators had agreed to co-sponsor and vote in favor of the bill at that time, and notably, Thune's name was not on the list. It wasn't last night. Now, that absence did not go unnoticed. Representative Anna Paulino Luna, Republican from Florida, publicly rebuked Thune ahead of Senate consideration, calling his position very disturbing. Very damn disturbing, Thune. What the hell are you doing as a Republican? You don't want voter integrity? Trump, get these people out. If you've got to go down that road of illegal voting and with the Smurf deal I was just talking about, do it. Take them out. Luna accused the majority leader of effectively siding with Chuck Schumer, Democrat from New York, by refusing to even allow a vote on the Senate floor. We talked about Thune at the beginning of this administration, that he was a rhino, big time. And when you get to where voter integrity is off the table, you're an evil rhino. And what it is, he's running scared because he knows he's been busted. And if we go deep into these voting rolls and we get this SAVE Act, his name's going to float to the top with the rest of you know what. Ms. Luna didn't mince words. She said, if you're going to depend on President Trump's coattails to get elected to office, if you're going to say that you're Republican, and then if you're going to turn around and complain that I'm bullying you in the House for wanting to pass the SAVE Act, which is common sense legislation, very low-hanging fruit and the right thing to do, then maybe you should consider getting a different job. Guys, you know Thune has never had a real job. Come out of college, right into politics. Never had a job. That's why they drag their feet all day when you try to get something done. Now, after all of that butt chewing, he called Mike Lee, and Mike Lee said on X that he'd just spoken directly with Thune. I just spoke to Majority Leader Thune, who has asked me to add him as a co-sponsor of the Save America Act. We're not at 45 baby steps to save America. We're now at 45. Last night, Lee was saying we're at 40, so it's Thune and 4 more. We got to get to 50 if they use the standing filibuster. But there are a couple of Democrats. You guys need to shift over on this vote if you have any integrity at all. Obviously, the Senate Majority Leader Thune has none. He had to be coerced when he should have been leading this from Jump Street. That tells you everything you need to know. I know both sides are crooked. Okay? I understand that. Still pointing out some things. This SAVE Act is the only thing that's going to save this country. If you're not aware of that or you don't want to talk about it, that's on you. Now, here's the current list, guys. Again, we got 44. If the name of your senator from your state is not on this list, you need, if you care about the country and the future of your kids and grandkids, you need to make some phone calls to your politicians in your state. Jim Banks, Republican in Indiana, he's on the list. Good. John Barrasso, Republican Wyoming. Marsha Blackburn, John Boozman, Katie Britt, Ted Budd, Bill Cassidy, John Cornyn. And Cornyn, you're in a race for your life in Texas right now, and you may not make it through there. You may have Attorney General Ken Paxton replacing your chair. Tom Cotton's in on it, in on the signing. Kevin Cramer, Mike Crapo, Ted Cruz, John Curtis, Steve Daines, Joni Ernst, Deb Fisher, Lindsey Graham, Chuck Grassley, Bill Haggerty, Josh Harley, good Josh, John Hoven, John Husted, Cindy Hyde Smith, our Republican from Mississippi. Thank you, Miss Smith. She called me during her election years ago and asked for our support. Anyway, Ron Johnson, Jim Justice, John Kennedy, our friend from Louisiana. Thank you. James Langford, thank you. Mike Lee, sponsor. Thank you, Mike, very much. This is who people like this needs to be leading, not the people that's on the bottom of the list. Cynthia Loomis, Republican from Wyoming. Roger Marshall, Dave McCormick, Ashley Moody, Jerry Moran, Benny Reno, Mark Wayne Mullen, Rand Paul. Wow. Thank you, Rand. Pete Ricketts, Mike Rounds, Rick Scott, Jim Risch, Eric Schmidt, Tim Sheehy, Tommy Tuberville, Todd Young, and John Thune. Last one to sign. Not the last one on the list. This is in alphabetical order, but one of the last ones to sign up. and he's the leader of the Republican Party that you and I represent, and he didn't want to have fair voting. He didn't want to have legitimate voter rolls. He doesn't want to dig into that deep. We don't have the votes. We don't have the time. We're too busy right now with these other things. When this is the most important thing facing the damn nation. Like I said, Thune, he's really chicken crap. Anyway, this was an article last night, guys, February 11th. This is what changed his mind, where Anna Paulina Luna shreds Senate Majority Leader John Thune for planning to cave to Schumer and kill the SAVE Act. That right there, that's why videos are important, even if it's just YouTubers. But here she is calling him out. He knows that it's time to get off the pot and do something. But if you have to do it to the leader under coercion, not much of a leader at all, is he? That will change in the elections coming up, and I think Thune needs to go. He should just declare himself a Democrat and join that party if that's the way he wants to do things. But what happened years and years ago, spies were put in place, rhinos on both sides, but mainly by the Democrats, because that's their mentality. But we, so when you start seeing these Republican senators and congressmen do this stuff, look at where they really came from, how they got there. And no politician that ever votes against election integrity should be able to run. But again, I've got an article from Anna Paulina Luna and a couple of others about the Epstein files. If you want to see them, I said, again, they're a little dark, but there's no visual darkness like that, but it's some information. Let me know in the comments. If not, I won't waste your time or my time. This is a heads up. Be safe.